Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Martial Master based on novel. So let's start. Endless rays of light bloomed. After the origin of heaven and earth was separated from the long river of years, it suddenly disappeared into the void, and the long river of years that traverses the ancient battlefield seemed to be shaken at this moment, rumbling, and the river of years rose up in the void. It becomes lighter and lighter, and finally disappears completely. The years go by. Do you feel it? The ****** cat raised his head, revealing a muttering color. At this moment, a perfect breath circulated between heaven and earth, flooding the entire continent. Mo Yuanbai and the others only felt that the original power in the body was cheering, as if a new life was ushered in. The origin of Tianwu continent has been restored, and everyone on this continent can enter the Holy Realm again. The cat murmured, with shock in his eyes, "Where did the light come from?" To repair the origin of heaven and earth, this. The power contained in Daoguang is too strong, and why is the breath of Daoguang so familiar to the emperor? The cat was lost in thought. What shall we do next? Everyone looked at Qin Mo and Big Black Cat. After a brief panic, Big Black Cat and Qin Mo were not in a hurry. Don't worry. Since Qin Chen has already gone to the heavens, then we don't have to worry anymore. 3 years later, the power of the heavens will come. If you want to save the mainland, you can't rely on us alone, but everyone in the Tianwu continent. Let's rectify Tianwu first. On the mainland, we must first settle inside the mainland, and after rectifying the Tianwu mainland, we will go to the heaven. Qin Mo burst into a cold light from his pupils. Some accounts should be settled. At this moment, after Qin Chen and Yu Chenxue entered the rift, they were immediately attacked by the terrifying spatial turbulence. A series of terrible turbulence bombarded Qin Chen's 4 people. Qin Chen was like collecting the Yu Chenxue 3 people into the universe jade disk for the first time, but still couldn't get it in. In this spatial turbulence, any spatial treasure can't display it. Boom boom boom. A series of terrible attacks kept coming. Qin Chen hugged the 3 of Yu Chenxue and used his body to block the attacks frantically. His whole body was shaken and blood was splashed. Even with the strength of his body, he was constantly suffering chuang. If you change to Yu Chenxue, several people will be fatally injured. Little dust, let us go quickly. Yu Chenxue, Ji Ruyue, and Chen Sisi desperately shouted, not wanting Qin Chen to be injured for them. Don't talk, hold on. Qin Chen gritted his teeth. The shocks constantly invaded his body, causing his body to rupture, and his origin was destroyed by destruction. Fortunately, Qin Chen was strong and possessed a spatial body, and his physical strength was comparable to that of an Earth Sage Master. Otherwise, even if Ling Luling and the others came, they would be torn apart instantly, leaving no bones. Qin Chen could not control his body. In the dark, he seemed to have passed through a weird space barrier. Suddenly, life seemed to be sublimated, and a vast force poured into the bodies of the 4. The lifespan of 4 people is like. It was infinitely expanded, and the life in the body passed thousands of times faster. The original lifespan of 3,000 years was suddenly sublimated to 100,000 years. This is the improvement of the essence of life. Is this the rule of life in the celestial realm? Qin Chen was shocked. He could feel that the time and space laws around him had become different. The space had condensed millions of times, and time also showed a roaring trend. Fortunately, the 4 of Qin Chen have been in the long river of years, and they have not. It was too unbearable, otherwise, such a rapid change in time flow would make their bodies unbearable instantly. After all, they did not ascend normally, but forcibly entered the heaven. A light spot suddenly appeared in the front, getting brighter and brighter, as if it contained endless possibilities. Is that the heaven? Qin Chen raised his head. At this moment, a terrifying spatial fluctuation struck Qin Chen, banging heavily on Qin Chen's body. The bones in Qin Chen's body suddenly shattered, and the spatial fluctuations instantly blasted Qin Chen away. Chenxue, Ruyue, Sisi. Qin Chen roared. Less dust. The 3 Qian Shui also shouted in horror. The 4 of them were separated. Qin Chen frantically wanted to catch the 3 of them, and suddenly, Boom! As if suddenly falling into the water from a high school, Qin Chen's body shook, and with a loud noise, he seemed to fall heavily to the ground, and the violent impact made him faint completely. I don't know how long Qin Chen has been asleep before he woke up leisurely. As soon as I opened it, I saw a huge mountain range. This mountain range was extremely wide, with big trees piercing the sky, comparable to the Optimus Pillar. Why am I here? Qin Chen only felt that he had a terrible headache, and couldn't remember the reason. Seems to have entered the long river of years, and then, it seems that I encountered some attack and was forced to enter the heaven. What did I encounter? Why can't I remember? Where is Chenxue, Ruyue, Cici? Qin Chen raised his head with difficulty, but found that there was no one around him. Above his head, above the endless void, a golden scorching sun appeared. This scorching sun is bigger than Tianwu continent. All are small, dark gold, gilded and sparkling fire, bursting. The flames, this flame is too strong, can burn thousands of rivers and mountains. Chenxue and the others were separated from me when they were about to reach the heavens. They must have landed near here too, certainly not too far away. Qin Chen was anxious, but he knew that there was no urgency at this time. The most urgent thing was to figure out the situation here first. Qin Chen immediately penetrated his soul power, and his soul power penetrated into this celestial realm, which was countless times more difficult. The emptiness of this celestial realm was extremely solid, much stronger than the Tianwu continent. However, Qin Chen has fought in the Forbidden Land before. Although the void of the heavens is strong, it is twice as strong as the Forbidden Land. This makes it very convenient for Qin Chen to be familiar with it. Otherwise, it would be from Tianwu. The mainland will not be able to stand it when it enters the heaven. Up. The surrounding area was deserted, without any creatures. Did you fall into a wilderness? Withdrawing his soul power, Qin Chen found that his whole body was broken bones, his body was severely damaged, and his meridians were broken, making him a serious mess. However, the heaven and earth here are so energetic and abundant. Qin Chen breathed a little, and he felt the real aura of heaven and earth in the air, rolling in. These auras were too rich, more than 10 times stronger than Tianwu continent. No, not only the difference in quantity, but the quality gap, light. Lightly transformed, it can become the power of Saint Yuan, and it is extremely pure, as if the whole world is full of Saint Qi. Even the grass under her body exudes a strong fragrance. Damn, this turned out to be an elixir equivalent to an emperor. Moreover, these weeds are so strong that even if the martial masters of the Tianwu continent come, they may not be able to cut them off. This is just a grass, it is so terrible. This is because the emptiness of the heavens is filled with countless heaven and earth holy energy. These weeds absorb the holy energy of heaven and earth day and night, which naturally contains extremely terrible holy energy. However, the extraction of these holy qi is very difficult. Although it is very strong, these weeds can only be regarded as weeds in the heavens. If you want to refine the holy qi, it is not worth the loss, and it is difficult to do it. Moreover, Qin Chen felt the laws around him carefully, and realized that the space here was so solid that it was unimaginable that no master of the holy realm could tear the space, move, and could only fly. This space law is too powerful, and the heaven is indeed the heaven. It seemed that his own spatial body had to be tempered anew in this celestial realm, because the spatial rules of the lower realm were not enough. I successfully ascended to the heavens. I can't believe it. I just don't know where Chenxue and the others have gone. Qin Chen immediately became worried. In the heavens, he was separated from Chenxue and the others. Chenxue and the three were unfamiliar with the place of life here, so they would inevitably encounter danger. When he thought of this, Qin Chen was full of anxiety and wanted to stand when he jumped. Stand up. However, a sharp pain came, and Qin Chunbian found that his body was full of scars, damaged too badly, his bones were broken, his internal organs were extremely severely injured, and even the origin of his body had some damaged. My own situation can be described as a mess. Hey, why did I fly up here? Qin Chen covered his head. He remembered that he had entered into the long river of years, and then seemed to encounter some crisis, and then entered into the heaven with Chen Shui and others. As for the specific situation in the long river of years, Qin Chen only had extremely. I can't remember the vague concept. Look at the universe good fortune jade disc first. Qin Chen hurriedly dropped his divine knowledge on the universe good fortune jade disc. As long as the universe good fortune jade disc is intact and has absorbed enough time and energy, he can enter the universe jade disc. Repair the injury as soon as possible, and find Yu Chenxue. The most urgent task is to repair the injury first, and then understand where you are in the heaven. But when Qin Chen's soul power fell on the universe jade plate, he found that he couldn't enter the universe jade plate at all. Qin Chen could still perceive the treasures in the universe jade plate, and he could take it out, but his body temporarily unable to be free. Go in and out of it. Okay. However, what made him gratified was that the depths of the jade disc of good fortune of heaven and earth was exuding a terrible aura, a trace of the power of time and the holy energy of the heavens merged into the jade disc of good fortune of heaven and earth. Every moment they all exude vast power. This is the evolution of universe good fortune jade. The laws and aura of the heavens have transformed the jade discs of good fortune in the universe, and amazing changes are taking place all the time. Qin Chen was overjoyed. As long as the transformation of the jade disc of good fortune in the universe is completed, I can re-enter it and practice in the special time flow inside. Moreover, I have a feeling that after the transformation of the jade disc in the universe, special things will happen. Variety. Moreover, I came to the celestial realm earlier than I planned, and now it is less than 3 years for the celestial master to enter the Qianwu continent. In less than 3 years, I want to break through and return to the Qianwu continent. It is difficult. Hard. Qin Chen sighed. There are too many things that need to be done by himself, and the cats don't know what to do. Are they still waiting for them in the forbidden place? Maybe they won't. With the cunningness of the cat, it can arrange everything. The only thing Qin Chen is fortunate about now is that the clone is still in the forbidden place. Once they find that they have entered the heaven, the cat and others will definitely find a way to reach the heaven. Once the clone enters the heaven, they can immediately sense it. Thinking about this, Qin Chen felt a little bit relieved that he had directly ascended to the heavens. He vaguely felt that because of this, he had escaped a fate of death in the long river of years. However, what puzzled Qin Chen was, isn't the heaven already broken amidst the rumors? How come it looks like there is no brokenness? At least the power in the void is extremely powerful, and it doesn't look broken at all. No matter what, now that he is seriously injured, he still needs to recover carefully. As long as his strength is restored, with his ability to resist the masters of the earth and wave his hand to kill the peak of the mortal sacred realm, it can also be mixed in the heavens. Up. Boom. Qin Chen urged the 9-star God Emperor Art and the immortal saint body, and ran the space saint body. Suddenly, a trace of the power of the celestial space and the endless holy energy poured into Qin Chen's body. Karkaka, Qin Chen's body was nourished by the breath of heaven, the meridians and bones. Skeletons and flesh and blood are all repaired one by one, becoming more powerful. Countless heaven and earth sacred auras lingered. This was drawn by the 9-star God Emperor Ju, such as the Ruyan swallow returning home, pouring into Qin Chen one after another. Hiss. Qin Chen was shocked. This was amazing. The 9-star Divine Emperor Art was operating in the heavens, and the power that burst out was even stronger than in the Qianwu continent. In addition, the universe jade plate is constantly absorbing power, and now it is reshaped. If it succeeds, it will definitely be more complete than before. Qin Chen's body is also slowly repairing, and his origin is gradually improving. The Saint Yuan that broke through the holy realm in the body is also undergoing transformation, and the immortal sacred body has formed an ancient talisman. Growing Qin Chen's body makes Qin Chen have this kind of feeling. This immortal Eucharist was originally the technique of the heavens, and only when it got here did it exert its true power. Under the immortal Eucharist, no matter what the injury is, it can be recovered. As long as the injury is recovered, Qin Chen can be sure that his strength will definitely rise to an incredible level. This is a feeling in the dark, but Qin Chen is very sure, because his sacred essence has been improved a little during the process of transformation, and he is breaking through to the late mortal realm. This jungle is very quiet and inaccessible, but no one will bother him, which allows him to heal his injuries quietly without being disturbed by the outside world. I don't know how long it took. Qin Chen's body moved, and the sacred yuan was able to move through the meridians in his body, regaining a little bit of strength. However, at this moment, in the jungle in the distance, there was a sound of shock. Hey, why is the Holy Spirit of heaven and earth so strong here? No, there is a person lying here, as if he's not dead, a voice came. Qin Chen heard clearly, and then, swish, two sounds of breaking through the sky. The two figures came to Qin Chen in an instant. Qin Chen's divine consciousness swept both of them for the first time. Both of them were in the Mortal Saint Realm cultivation base, and they were both at the peak of the Mortal Saint Realm midterm. Qin Chen got up with difficulty, clasped his fists to the two who came over and said, "Two friends, I was chased and killed just now, and I fled here all the way. May I ask what place this is?" "No, it was here just now. The holy energy is extremely rich. I thought there was some kind of heaven and earth elixir here. I couldn't think of nothing. Besides, there is a special rule power here. Is there anything in your body that can attract heaven and earth? The special thing of Holy Spirit?" One of the men with a dark complexion stared at Qin Chen, with a look of doubt on his face. Could it be that this person has a treasure? The other person said in surprise, looking at Qin Chen with fiery eyes, showing a greedy look, but he was carrying the other person on his back, so his companion did not see it. After the two said, they completely ignored Qin Chen. Qin Chen's heart sank, and the other party's attitude was obviously not very friendly. But Qin Chen didn't show it, just handed his hands. "Two, there is no treasure in the lower body. The reason why the heaven and the earth are strong is that he healed here before going down and took a healing pill. It is a pity that the pill already disappeared. It's exhausted. I don't know if you can tell me the information here. I am grateful." If there were no injuries on his body, Qin Chen would definitely ask the two of them directly. Even if the other party didn't say anything, Qin Chen would force it, because he wanted to know his whereabouts urgently. But now, the two of them in front of him were both Holy Realm Masters at the midterm peak, and Qin Chen didn't want to rush into action. Who knows where this is, who the other party is, and whether they have any accomplices behind them? Who knows that these two people simply ignored Qin Chen's words? The dark man stared at Qin Chen solemnly and said, "You said you took the healing pill? Hihi, what healing pill can attract so much holy energy from heaven and earth? Well, what's the matter with you?" "Oh." The other person stared at him coldly. Qin Chen didn't want to conflict with these two people, frowning and said, "If you two don't want to tell, then I will leave." After speaking, Qin Chen arched his hands and wanted to leave here. Qin Chen didn't expect the heaven and earth holy energy attracted by his 9-star God Emperor art to be in such trouble. "Ha ha ha, seeing our two brothers, you still want to leave. The Holy Spirit of heaven and earth here just now is not only very strong, but also extremely pure. There is definitely something in your body, boy, hand it over." The dark guy suddenly laughed, raised his hand and grabbed it at Qin Chen. Obviously, Qin Chen, a wounded mid-sacred realm martial artist, did not pay attention to him. Qin Chen was really embarrassed, covered in blood, and the aura on his body was also very weak. Qin Chen was shocked. He didn't expect that the other party would directly attack him. Is this heavenly person so naked? This is no different than those evil people in Tianwu continent, and even worse than that. Although Qin Chen didn't want to have a conflict for no reason, since the other party had started, then Qin Chen had nothing to say. He was not a person waiting to die. What Qin Chen didn't expect was that the dark-skinned man who had just stretched out his hand, he stopped. He looked back at his companion with difficulty, and said angrily, "Chen Guang, why?" The middle-term mortal realm warrior named Chen Guang drew a black war knife from him, and said with a sneer, "There is only one treasure, give it to you or give it to me. And, you don't feel there is a time rule here? The breath. This person must be. There are treasures with time rules." When Qin Chen heard these words, he immediately understood that the time aura exuded when the universe fortune jade disc was raised was unexpectedly caught by the other party. Puff. The man drew out the black saber, and the dark guy suddenly fell unwillingly. Qin Chen keenly felt that the soul of the other party died together. In this celestial realm, the rules are too strong. Unlike the masters in the Tianwu continent's holy realm, they can separate their souls and rob others, but in the heavens, soul and body are one. Yes, the only people who can separate the soul from the body are the real top big people, ordinary people. The body is annihilated, and the soul is also annihilated. Everything is because of the rules. After Chen Guang killed his companion, he didn't even have time to control his storage ring, so he looked at Qin Chen coldly and said, "Hand over your treasure, and I will leave you with a whole body." Qin Chen, I sneered in my heart, let myself hand over the treasure, dream. Originally Qin Chen was worried that his injury had only recovered a little, but the other party had two people. If the wind leaked out, he was too dangerous. Who knew that the other party solved one for him? Qin. The pressure on Chen's body suddenly reduced. A fellow in the middle of the mortal realm dared to rob himself. Without even thinking about it, the demon sword appeared in his hand instantly, slashing towards Chen Guang with a sword. Then Chen Guang obviously didn't expect Qin Chen to take the initiative. "You're looking for death." After an angry shout, the black battle knife in his hand immediately drew a black light circle. Within the light circle, a terrifying knife shadow angry dragon swept towards Qin Chen roaring. Qin Chen sneered, and immediately wanted to urge the space domain to restrain the opponent, but as soon as he performed Qin Chen, he was stunned. The space domain he could easily control in Tianwu continent could only form a vague spatial shadow here. No, Qin Chen immediately understood that the heaven and earth rules of the heavens are much stronger than the Tianwu continent, and with his current ability, there is no way to control the space rules of the heavens. At this time, the Shadow War knife had already appeared in front of Qin Chen. Swordsmanship. Qin Chen's eyes were fierce, and without hesitation, he displayed the strongest swordsmanship. Boom! The demon sword and the black saber collided with each other, making a huge noise. If the impact was in the Tianwu continent, the surrounding space would have been torn apart, but here, the surrounding space did not even startle. A terrifying force of the holy origin swept across the black sword, and Qin Chen realized that a breath of excitement spread from his demon sword, as if excited about being in the heavens. Boom! The demon sword bloomed with terrible light, all of a sudden. The vitality was resisted. A terrifying demon sword aura surged, and Chen Guang was directly bombarded and flew hundreds of meters away. Before the person fell, a mouthful of blood had been sprayed from the air. Qin Chen's body shook, the blood surging in his body. He stopped after a dozen steps back, and a red color appeared on his face. Qin Chen was secretly shocked. He didn't expect that the demon sword would have such a change in the heavens. At the same time, he secretly cried out that it was a pity that if he was not injured, and the other party dared to underestimate the enemy like this, he would be able to obliterate the opponent with one move. And Qin Chen felt that Chen Guang was far worse than Ling Luling and the others who had descended on Tianwu continent, and was not above the level at all. It seems that not everyone in the heavens is a master, a lot of ordinary holy realm. What? Chen Guang didn't expect to fight against him just now. He was injured in an instant. He immediately looked at Qin Chen in anger. Qin Chen was clearly only in the middle of the holy realm, and the breath on his body was extremely weak. He was obviously affected. Seriously injured, he can be injured seriously in this state. There is definitely a big secret in the other party. And your sharp sword. Is it a demon soldier? Chen Guang looked at Qin Chen with fiery eyes, his greedy expression even worse. Obviously the reason why he thinks Qin Chen is so powerful is because he has a special heavy treasure on his body, and the green monster sword in Qin Chen's hand exudes a strange aura, not like a holy soldier of the human race, like a monster of weapons. The black saber in his hand is his only saint soldier, and this is a mortal level inferior saint soldier, and the demon sword in Qin Chen's hand is obviously more terrifying than his own black saber, indicating that the level of the demon soldier is also in his own. Above the black saber. Thinking that as long as Qin Chen is killed, the secrets and treasures of the other party will be his own. Chen Guang even grinned and boomed. The aura on his body suddenly rose, and the black sword in his hand flicked, and countless black knife shadows flew away. Came out, these. With a whistling voice, the black knife shadow enveloped Qin Chen in the blink of an eye. Fight against the eight-faced knife art swallowing sky style. Among the black blade shadows, a huge black angry dragon opened a terrifying black hole and bit at Qin Chen, as if to swallow Qin Chen with a sword. Qin Chen raised his hand and sacrificed the demon cauldron. His injury had not yet recovered, and Sheng Yuan had not repaired it. If he was injured again, it would be troublesome. At the same time, Qin Chen sacrificed dozens of thunder swords. These thunder swords carried azure blue thunder, and fought in Qin Chen town. The black knife on the magic cauldron was like a shadow, and the black angry dragon was surrounded in a blink of an eye. And a terrifying sword field has swept out. Empty thunder sword domain. When Qin Chen offered sacrifices to the town's magic pot, the eagerness in Chen Guang's eyes was that Qin Chen could see it. Chen Guang didn't expect Qin Chen's good things to continue to be the same, and this town magic cauldron is another good thing. These good things are in the hands of a badly wounded mortal Saint Realm midstage kid, and this kid's luck is too bad. He didn't think he would. It was just a martial artist who was at the peak of the mortal Saint Realm midterm, and he only had all the treasures on Qin Chen's body in his eyes. But the next moment he had no such expression of surprise at all. Qin Chen's empty thunder sword domain had completely enveloped the black angry dragon. The black angry dragon roared in the blue thunder sword arc, and at the same time gave out bursts of sharpness. Howling. Chen Guang's face suddenly paled. Lei Xiu? He did not think that Qin Chen was still a Lei Xiu, not only a Lei Xiu, the thunder system technique was still so against the sky, and there was a terrible spatial force in the opponent's thunder sword, and even the shadow of his sword. Completely bound. The power of the sky thunder sword territory in the heavens is not as strong as in the Tianwu continent, but it is not a problem to trap a small middle-term warrior in the mortal holy realm. A feeling of extreme aggrievedness came, and Chen Guang understood in an instant that although the opponent was also a warrior in the middle of the mortal realm and was seriously injured, he also restrained him. Chen Guang has rich combat experience. He knows that it is impossible for him to kill Qin Chen. The strength Qin Chen has shown has already surpassed him. If he continues to fight, not only will he not be able to kill Qin Chen, but he will fall into it. Crisis. He regretted immediately, regretting that he had killed his companion in the first place. But he was also extremely resolute. When he found something was wrong, he quickly backed away, and at the same time sent out a talisman for transmission. He would find a helper to destroy Qin Chen and let a martial artist such a wealthy Qin Chen escape. He would never be reconciled. It's just that Chen Guang just sent out the talisman. Qin Chen's sword light has already come. Time rules. In order to trap Chen Guang, Qin Chen even urged the origin of time. The origin of time was too strong and belonged to the supreme power. He was not hindered in this celestial realm. Although Qin's understanding of the rules of time is a little bit of a fur. But Chen Guang's actions. Slowly in an instant, as if it became slow motion. Boom. Qin Chen first extinguished Chen Guang's messenger talisman, and then the demon sword had already blasted the war knife in Chen Guang's hand, pierced Chen Guang's chest with a sword, snorted, blood splashed, and then Chen Guang returned. God, break free from the rules of time. The power of time. Chen Guang made a sound of shock and fear, and was completely controlled by Qin Chen. Heaven Soul Forbidden Technique. Qin Chen immediately released a soul power, boom. Soul power directly submerged into Chen Guang's mind, obviously to search for the other party's soul, but Qin Chen's soul just entered Chen Guang's mind, but I found that it is too difficult to search for the soul of the other party. Under the rules of the heavens, the difficulty of searching for souls is more than 100 times more difficult than the lower ones. With Qin Chen's terrifying soul power, he couldn't forcefully search for the soul, because it was too difficult to deprive the memory of the opponent's soul, so he could only attack on the soul. Just as Qin Chen was thinking about leaving the other party's life for interrogation, the demon sword that pierced Chen Guang's body suddenly burst into a weird light, and immediately enveloped Chen Guang. What? Chen Guang let out a scream, and his whole body suddenly shriveled, his spirit and energy dissipated completely, was swallowed by the demon sword, and his whole soul completely collapsed and fell completely. Qin Chen was startled. He didn't expect such a change in demon sword. He threw down Chen Guang's body, shook his head, and picked up the storage rings of the two of them. When they were about to clear the battlefield, Slight fluctuations in the surrounding space came. Qin Chen immediately knew. People came, he didn't dare to wait for half a second anymore, turned around and brought a trace of the disappearance of light. Immediately after Qin Chen left, two shadows fell beside Chen Guang and the companion who was killed by Chen Guang. It's Chen Guang and Feng Yuan. It turns out that the two of them died here? One of them looked at the corpse on the ground with a look of surprise. Big brother, Chen Guang and Feng Yuan are also good hands. Who killed them? Wouldn't they be the masters of the late stage or even the peak of the sacred stage? If we want to chase them. This warrior hesitated, obviously because he was a little afraid of the other party's ability to kill Chen Guang and Feng Yuan. This time the grand event of Tsongshuan City only once in 1,000 years is about to open again. I am afraid that there are experts from all over Yunju, and the neighborhood will start to be dangerous again. The leading warrior said with an ugly expression, but Feng Yuan is not someone else. It was Chen Guang who killed it, and Chen Guang was killed by another person. Killing Chen Guang's person should not be a master. This video will end here.